Disney is still doing damage control after Rachel Zegler destroyed Snow White, the flock, before it hit theaters. Okay, now Rachel Zegler didn't just star in Snow White; she became the reason people stopped caring about it. Okay, and Rachel Zegler mocked the original Snow White, dismissed its legacy, and turned a beloved fairy tale into a big lecture nobody asked for. And now Rachel Zegler is being paraded around as some kind of success story just because Snow White hit number one on Disney Plus, a streaming service with no competition. Now, Rachel Zegler didn't save this movie. She helped to bury it, and Disney is still trying to go ahead and convince you otherwise. All right. Now, honestly, they spent over $300 million trying to reinvent Snow White. Rachel Zegler, leading the charge and stuff, like acting like the original was offensive and outdated. Now the movie is sitting at $200 million globally, making it the worst performing Disney live action remake in almost a decade. All right. Now, honestly, you'd have to go back to that Pete's Dragon remake just to go ahead and find something worse. But here's the difference. Pete's Dragon cost $60 million. Snow White cost 5 times that and still couldn't even break even. Yet somehow we're being told that, Rachel Zegler's version is a hit because it's number one on Disney Plus. Okay. Now, this is a service that no one actually wants. But if you were to look at the headlines where it talks about Rachel Zegler Snow White becomes instant streaming hit after 25 million box office disappointment, I mean, exactly how does that even make sense? Who writes this stuff? You lose a couple $100 million in theaters, but because you're number one on Disney Plus, a platform where everything new is hits number one for about 5 minutes, that's supposed to count for something now. That's a joke right there. The Marvels did the exact same thing, tanked in theaters, showed up on Disney Plus, and as number one. I mean, it's not an achievement at all, okay? It's just simply an auto-generated outcome, okay? Now, honestly put, Zegler is now riding the wave of this artificial high like it's a personal redemption arc, okay? All because Snow White managed to do the bare minimum, exist on a platform with no competition, okay? No major new films, no third party content, no hits, just reruns, legacy IP, and corporate spin. So when Snow White lands at number one on Disney Plus, it's not because of demand, it's because there's nothing else new to watch, okay? That's not even win, it's just gravity at this point, okay? So you know what else is number one? Captain America Brave New World, or was before, another limp entry that barely registered with audiences. And that movie got the number one on Disney Plus label too. So did the Marvels, as I said. You know what? The Marvels had it, what the Marvels had in this first week? 580 million viewing minutes. That sounds impressive until you realize Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had 1.62 billion in the same window. And even Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania had beat it with 766 million minutes. So if Rachel Zegler Snow White is doing anything close to the Marvels, that's not a success story at all. It's just another case study in denial. Now, Disney is not showing us numbers for the Rachel Zegler version of Snow White on streaming. They never do when the numbers look bad. You see, they just say number one and hope people don't ask questions. You see, they think slapping a ranking on it will somehow wipe out the months of backlash, the memes, the angry fans, the recast demands, the box office nosedive. But guess what? We remember. Everyone remembers. And no amount of forced press releases will change the fact that Rachel Zegler turned Snow White into a punchline, okay? And remember, Snow White itself wasn't just a movie. You see, it was a full-blown culture war landmine, all right? From day one, Rachel Zegler made it clear that she didn't respect the source material, okay? She didn't even seem to like it. She simply just mocked the original, mocked the prince, mocked the romance, all while Disney acted like it was a brave reinvention. I mean, what they actually delivered was just a weird, joyless, creepy CGI mess that made even the dwarves look like background extras in a nightmare, okay? And now we're supposed to go ahead and just cheer because it did well on a streamer losing billions. Now Disney Plus hasn't had a real hit in ages, but when they do get attention, it's for the wrong reasons. Canceled projects, low subscriber retention, or bleeding cash, okay? But every time something flops in theaters, they trot out the same formula. Toss it on the app, watch it naturally or float to the top because there's no competition and pretend it's a massive rebound. Now Rachel Zegler Snow White just got plugged into that same machine. And the media is actually doing cartwheels right now to go ahead and make sure the narrative sticks, okay? But I mean, let's be honest here. Rachel Zegler doesn't mind the spin at all, okay? She's probably loving it. If she makes another Instagram post celebrating the number 1 spot, I mean, I won't even be surprised at all. Not even by a little bit. Wouldn't be shocked if she throws in a little jab at the haters. Look, we did it. Number 1. No kings, just a queen. That kind of small PR fluff. But no matter how many times they say it, the reality doesn't change. Now, Snow White was a disaster, still is, and Zegler was at the center of it. And pretending otherwise just insults everyone who watched it flop in real time. Okay. Now, you'd actually think that Disney would stop for a second and reconsider how they got here, but they won't. They'll just keep pushing actors like Zegler, rewriting stories nobody asked to be rewritten, and wondering why no one shows up to the theater. Then when it falls apart, they'll point to Disney Plus like it's some sort of magical scoreboard that fixes the damage right there. I mean, well, it doesn't. All it does is just drag the brand lower and give people one more reason to unsubscribe, okay? Meanwhile, the real top performers on Disney Plus, the things that, actually stay popular are old classics like Moana, the animated on Lilo and Stitch, stuff people actually watch. And Rachel Zegler Snow White will be forgotten in a week like every other number 1 that cycles through the app. I mean, it'll get overtaken by a decade-old Pixar film, and that's how meaningless this fake win is, okay? So it's just a headline without substance. It's marketing without merit, basically. All right. And don't forget, Disney is so desperate to go ahead and avoid talking about numbers that they'll say that, anything to redirect. Now, streaming doesn't make money for them. Okay, they admit it. They lose billions every year, yet they still use Disney Plus as a way to pretend their theatrical flops have some kind of value. Now, the Rachel Zegler Snow White is just the latest entry in that long line of smoke and mirrors. Now, all that press about being an instant hit is just more corporate damage control, okay? But I mean, what's actually next? Disney Plus award show where every new upload gets a gold star and a standing ovation. Congratulations, Rachel Zegler. Your movie beat Bluey for 48 hours. Take a victory lap. That's where we're headed. They know it's nosedive. We know it's nonsense and stuff, but they're going to go ahead and keep running this con job as long as the headlines still generate a few clicks. And Zegler is more than happy to go ahead and ride that wave and pretend her version of Snow White didn't crash and burn, okay? But the saddest part is that Snow White used to mean something, okay? The animated version of this. It was Disney's foundation. The original film built the entire animation empire. Now it's a footnote in decline. And Zegler didn't just play the title role, she helped to tear it down with arrogance, disrespect, and entitlement, okay? She made herself the face of Disney's modern failure, all right? And all the spin in the world won't wash that off at all. Okay. Now you simply just can't gaslight people into loving the movie that they didn't watch. Okay. And you can't pretend a bomb is just a hit because it trends for a weekend. And you can't turn Rachel Zegler into a hero when she spent a year alienating the very audience that made Snow White a classic in the first place. Okay. This is just simply corporate delusion at its worst. And the fact that is being paraded around as a win just simply shows you just how far Disney has fallen. Okay. Now, Rachel Zegler will simply go on pretending that this was all a win. Okay. And Disney will keep pretending that Disney Plus is some kind of success story. But the numbers don't lie, okay? The audience didn't show up at all. The goodwill is gone, and no one is buying the spin anymore. The crown they're trying to give Rachel Zegler isn't made of gold. It's simply made of fool's gold, if you will, forged in a boardroom worn by someone who thinks a title card on a failing app is worth more than actual fan support. Well, it's not, and it never will be. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed what was shared in this video. Subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for future notifications and uploads, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.